Hey guys, welcome to the first part of our team video walkthrough. Today we'll be covering the first minute and 14 seconds of the team video this year. It would be the 2013-2014 team video. This is the part that goes to Radioactive by Imagine Dragons. One of the major things that I was thinking about when I was trying to come up with an intro for this video was how to create something that I'd never done before. And one of my favorite concepts in movies is being able to go into one's own mind and one's own consciousness. I wanted to try and convey that in some sense or another. And I wanted to go into the mind of a senior who was about to graduate. What exactly he was thinking of, whether it was at the beginning of the season or whether it was at the end of the season. I first talked to Christian about this a while ago. He's obviously the main star in the very beginning. He was all gung-ho about it. He's going, sure, let's do it. And I was still in kind of like the formulative stages at this point. So when I discussed it with him, he was going like, how are you going to do that? And I was kind of like, yeah, sure, that's a good point. Over the summer, when I first came up with this idea, I had heard Imagine Dragons on the radio. Obviously, it was at like 4 in the morning because I was working at KSTP at the time. My mind works very interesting ways when I listen to music. When I listen to a song, I tend to get a vision as far as how things should play out or how I would make a music video out of them. But as far as this one goes, I kind of got this idea that the first part of the song, the build-up section is what I call it, is kind of a discovery phase. I liked how there was like a whine near the end of the build-up phase to kind of thing, like a level kind of increase. Oh, someone's putting earphones on or something. And that's kind of what I got out of it, like someone's about to gear up and then... When I first listened to it, I actually opened my eyes when I heard that first downbeat. So what I did first is I laid down the track for it. I just wanted to get an idea of how long the music would progress. And I cut it right after it says, it's a new age. Because I wanted to get across the notion that it's a new age, it's a new year, that kind of thing. So I talked to Christian about this and I kind of decided, you know what, I like the earphone idea, we'll go with that. And I had Bose earphones. This is brought to you by Bose. They're all encompassing and I wanted it to be kind of more ethereal kind of feel to it. I ended up actually asking him to do this over winter break. The signs on the doors, you'll be able to see winter break housing all over them. You kind of get the sense of how long of planning this was going on. First off, I need a little bit of confusion, like you don't exactly know what you're hearing. It's almost like an instantaneous, all of a sudden this comes up and then you're reacting to it, because I can't play the music loud enough to actually get it on film. I kind of had him fake it. And having Christian fake something is not a good idea, just for future reference. While he's going down the hallway, I actually physically twist the camera around to kind of give a sense of distorted time and whatnot. So he ends up going to my door, and what I wanted to happen when he enters the doorway is for it to change physically. You can see him transitioning almost from reality into a more cartoon state. He's all of a sudden a lot more outlined, detailed, there's a darker edge around him and everything else, and obviously it turns black and white. Because what I wanted to do is create like an alternative universe kind of feel to it. One of the major things about it was I wanted to create something where the headphones were the biggest part of this new space. It wasn't just all black and white, it was that something was drawing his attention. I created an extraneous circle around the earphones and created a flashing simulator to it. It flashes on and off at a specific rate, and I created a watermark on it that made it waver a little bit. What you're seeing there is a phased-in, overlaid portion of the earphones on top of the original image that is just kind of wavering and flashing at a different rate. Wow, what is this and what is he about to go into? So obviously the next few images are him putting the earphones on as the music is building up, because I wanted to create a specific amount of tension with that. And as he puts them on, what is the best way to transition from his mental state now into thinking about the swim team? He's getting ready for a race. I put him in his cap and goggles and literally just held the camera in front of him, and I would just hard cut straight to the other one as soon as the beat dropped. One of my favorite parts about that switch is when it says, I'm waking up, which is ironic because we're technically putting him into a dream state for this kind of thing. And in that situation, it's kind of like calling attention to the fact that he's waking up into his swimming self. This is another portion of his identity that he is all of a sudden becoming. It was important to me for this intro that I wanted the realm of consciousness for this video to take place in West Gym. I wanted it to be in the pool where we normally swim. It was important that all of the clips that are shown in the very beginning of this intro take place in West Gym, because if he's thinking about his swimming career or his past with the swim team, he's thinking about it from his home. I wanted to show people getting ready behind the blocks, but I also wanted to show shots that I'd never gotten before. So like stuff from behind, stuff from the sides, low angle shots, high angle shots, all manners of assortments of shots. And one of my favorite things is when I was actually walking behind him, because I did a full 360 shot of him, he does this thing where he puts his hands on his ears like he's still trying to keep the headphones in, and I thought that was great when I filmed it. It was totally unplanned. It's not like I told him, hey, do this. No, he actually did that, which I was kind of surprised about. And I didn't realize until I was editing afterward, I was going like, that's perfect. That's exactly what I needed. One of my favorite shots was actually getting Lydia going up the diving board, because I'd never gotten a shot from that angle before. So to put that in, I thought that was really cool, and I timed her jump and everything else with the beat of the music. So you'll notice she steps on the diving board actually with a beat on the music. So the line right after that is, I'm breathing in the chemicals. So I wanted to do something really kind of fun with it. What does breathing in chemicals mean? Are you seeing things? You know, what's kind of out of the box here? Right before I started filming this, I had found a kaleidoscope effect that I really wanted to use. I just thought it was really cool looking and I wanted an excuse to use it. I took one of the lights in that shot and I kaleidoscoped it, but I also enlarged it so it would kind of flicker and do weird things with it. And then I combined that with a rotating kaleidoscope of Eli looking at the camera. It was interesting enough to capture the audience's attention, and it still made sense with the song and the theme of what was going on and all that kind of stuff. So right after that, there's a breathe in segment, and this was, I swear, the most difficult thing to try and do. I had to literally hold and sit with a camera and wait for people to breathe in and out. But I realized that it's really hard to see a breathe in, and no one really breathed in. I have almost hours of footage of just sitting on people waiting for them to breathe out so I could get something to use. I only got 3 people that breathed out. I think it was Allison Coogan, Madison McBride, and Alex Brady as the only 3 that actually breathed out for me to be able to use some footage for it. To move on from Eli's section, I had to split up the breath, and I got that idea from watching the original Imagine Dragons video. And I thought, what better way than you breathe in, and you hear a whistle, and you get ready to go again. Luckily, I was able to get Brad in this video. I've kind of been wanting an excuse to put him in the last few years. And I continued the theme of just kind of something weird to look at by reflecting him on both sides of the screen, like this. And then after that, I brought it back together toward the original theme, putting Brady in the middle in between both Brads and regathering focus. So obviously the next step of getting ready for a race is getting on the blocks. And that was easy to come by, so I just started mix and matching that together, and I tried to graphic match it as much as possible. And again, I wanted to use weird angles that I had not used yet in previous videos. And then obviously you've got Masha, who literally looked around before her race, and I didn't realize until after the fact. I thought it was kind of ridiculous when I first filmed it, and I'm sure other people still do, but in the song when it says, "This is it, the apocalypse," she kind of looks around like she's surveying a wasteland, and I was like, it fits so perfectly, I have to put it in now. After that, I wanted to go quickly between I'm waking up. Every beat I wanted to put a different person coming down. And as soon as it goes to up, I wanted everyone to start. And one of my favorite things about listening to this song when I first heard it was how all of a sudden it seems to slow down. Time literally seemed to slow down when I listened to it. So I slowed down everybody as much as possible. The problem is that the camera that I was using wasn't necessarily great for that. I was only able to do, most of the time, down to 50%, in other words, half speed. But this needed to be so much slower in order to be as effective. So what I did was I slowed it down to 10% speed, and I used an effect called optical flow that would blend a lot of frames together. And obviously the title screen took a little bit of time because one of the major things was, how was I going to try and show the title in the first place? With this one, I was kind of like, I want the words to come out of the water at the viewer. It's hard to do that if you're in a third-person perspective watching somebody else going into the water. I got a chance to use a GoPro. I got a waterproof case for it, and I literally held it over and fell into the water, just kind of holding it outstretched. It was really ridiculous to try and film, and it looked like you were going into a first-person perspective of diving into the water. And the effect you end up getting is obviously the main title screen, which looks like this. I'm sure you're asking now, so what about the bass beats? It took me forever to try and think of something to kind of elevate this. Most of my other videos that I've done don't necessarily use an effect that distorts the video image itself. And basically what it was there's an earthquake effect on Final Cut Pro that I would time to start and end with the bass beats as best as possible. And I thought it brought the whole piece together as something like he was trying to contain in his headphones. It's like it's physically so loud and encompassing that it is affecting his vision. So yeah, that's the first part of the video. I'll get back to you guys soon on the next part, which features Macklemore and Ryan Lewis singing Can't Hold Us. Let me know what you think of the first part of the video in the comment section below. And don't forget, go watch the team video when you have a chance. Alright guys, thanks for joining.